Welcome tonight to coming to the Millionaire Academy. Appreciate everyone taking time out of your busy schedule, especially right now in December when it's the holidays and we're all excited about Christmas and getting together with family we haven't seen forever, or during, I guess, whatever, either excited or during, one or the other with family. Some do both. But if you're sitting here tonight, I recognize you guys have made some type of a sacrifice to be here tonight, so I appreciate it. If you noticed, if you've ever been to an event like this where there's, kind of a self-improvement, wealth-building kind of event, this one may look a little bit different, may sound a little different. We don't have any smoke, lights, big stage, and big room, right? There's something a little bit different here than usual. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason why we don't have smoke and a big room, big stage, lots of loud music, because we do things differently here. And because we do things differently, we get different results, okay? One of the things I got frustrated with the most is going to these events when I was trying to improve and learn, is that I'd go there, and by the time I left, I was all excited and pumped up, got some great information, and then I'd go home, and I didn't know what to do with that information. I didn't know how to apply it, and my motivation by the time I got home was probably down a little bit too, and even like by the next day, my motivation was really down, and a lot of that excitement had died down. And so when I put together this program, I wanted to make sure that there was much more than just knowledge, and much, much more than just emotion and excitement. The goal, what I felt like a lot of times when I go to these events was the main goal was to sell product. And having a background in psychology and understanding kind of what the speakers were doing, they use this thing called crowd psychology. And what they do is they try to get you to think a certain way, and they try to get you to feel a certain way, and they try to get you to do something, right? And they run you through this cycle multiple times throughout the presentation. Because if they can get control of how you're thinking, and they can manipulate how you're feeling, and they can get you to do certain things, and every time they take you through this cycle, they get a little bit more of the crowd connected, a little bit more of the crowd connected, and they're trying to unite the crowd into unity. Okay, and the reason they have all the lights and they have you do all these things and tell these certain stories is to try to get you all united and thinking similar, feeling similar, and acting similar. So at the end they say, buy my program, right? And if they've got enough manipulation or control over the crowd, then more people buy the program. And so it felt like a lot of times as I was going to these events, I'm like, okay, do they really want to help me, or are they just trying to sell me on their programs? And if I bought the program, would I ever see them again, hear of them again? Or do I just buy the program and then adios and nice knowing you kind of thing? And so I wanted to make something a little bit different, and that's why the room's smaller, there's less chairs, and it's not this big, loud, exciting thing. Tonight, as we go through this information, I'm not going to manipulate you. I'm not going to tell you certain things and have you do certain things to try to get control of the crowd and to manipulate the crowd. So it's a little bit different than what you may be used to if you've gone to some of these things, but there's a reason behind it, okay? Now, the program is the Millionaire Academy, and the program teaches you how to create $1 million in the next 12 months, okay? Now, for some of you might think, oh my gosh, $1 million in 12 months, is that even possible? Okay. Now, a long time ago, there was this really cool guy. His name was Thomas Edison, okay? And he spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get electricity and light from electricity, and how to use electricity to create light. And depending on which research you read and whatever stories you read, but it's common things he's supposedly tried 1,000 times and failed 1,000 times to get light from electricity. Now, one of the reasons he kept failing was because he knew if you passed electricity through wire, it would produce a light. The problem is that as that electricity passed through the wire, it would combust and burn in half and then break the circuit and stop flowing electricity, and then the light would go away. And so, and it was common knowledge that you could get light from electricity, but they just didn't know how. And up to that point, it was impossible to get light from electricity. And one day, Mr. Edison was reading in this physics book talking about vacuums, okay? And when I'm talking about vacuums, I'm not the ones you clean your floor with. A vacuum is something where there's no oxygen, no air, okay? And in this book, it was talking about how combustion cannot occur inside of a vacuum. And Thomas Edison, as he's reading this, he's like, light comes on, right? Oh, wait, if I can get the wire inside of a vacuum, it won't combust and burn up. He had tried a lot of different ways, trying different gauges of wire, trying just different volts of electricity to flow through the wire. He tried a lot of different versions trying to get it to work, but until he had the vacuum, it would keep burning up. And he's like, oh, if I can get the wire in the vacuum, and this glass bulb is really just a vacuum. And that's why the electricity can pass through the wire, create electricity or create light, but not burn up. When your light bulb goes out, it's because the vacuum broke. The seal broke somewhere, air got into the bulb, and then the filament burns up and breaks in half again, so then it doesn't work, and you have to replace the light bulb. And I don't know how much longer I can use this example because LED lights and fluorescent bulbs are pretty much taking over incandescent bulbs. But originally, this is how we got light. But at one point in time, it was impossible. And people said it was impossible. And there was thousands of versions created to try to make it happen. It didn't happen. So as you're thinking about creating $1 million in the next 12 months, some of you might be going, well, that sounds impossible. If it is possible, why isn't everyone doing it? Okay? How long did it take to get light bulbs to the entire world once it was created?
Okay.
Right? You know, not only did they have to create a light bulb, they had to get electricity to houses. And if you lived in a house where there wasn't electricity, even though it was possible to get light from electricity, if your house didn't have electricity, still no lights, right? And so it can be a process. So just because you haven't heard of it before doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? But the goal of the Millionaires Academy really is we want to create 1 million new millionaires in the next 5 years. And we're just getting started. But money is merely a tool. Okay? It's like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a mansion, and you can use a hammer to tear down the same mansion. It depends on who's holding the hammer and what their purpose is with the hammer. And money's the same way. And so when we're talking about creating 1 million new millionaires in the next 5 years, what we're really looking for is we want to create 1 million new powerful individuals, families, and leaders that's going to positively influence and change the world. Okay, it doesn't take, you don't have to look very far to really see that the world may need a little bit of help right now, right? There's lots going on in the world. People are lost. They might be a little bit confused maybe with what life is about, where life is going, and what we're doing, and why we keep hurting each other and doing all these horrible things in the world, okay? But the Millionaires Academy is not just focusing on money, right? Money is just that first step. It's a tool. The Academy focuses on 5 areas of life. So we're going to be looking at your wealth and helping you create more wealth and become a millionaire. We're going to be looking at your relationships and strengthening your relationships. We're going to be looking at your health and improving your health. We're going to be looking at your personal development to allow you to start growing and doing better and doing more, right? We don't want to hand you a chainsaw without knowing how to use the chainsaw. Otherwise, people get hurt, things get hurt, you get hurt, right? And money is very similar. Okay, we're going to work on your spirituality. And again, when we talk about spirituality, we're not necessarily talking about joining an organized religion, but just strengthening that connection you have between you and that higher power, whether you call it God, universe, karma, whatever, you name that spiritual power. But it's reconnecting with that and making that connection a little bit stronger. Okay, Abraham Lincoln, he said, the strength of a nation lies in the homes of its people. Okay, and so we're talking about creating these powerful people. We're not looking for people that's going to go out and start and get into politics and running for office. Okay, this is just changing the people. As much as we like to blame our political leaders for the woes of this country and the world, we really can't look beyond the mirror to see the problem. And we're in a democracy. We vote those leaders in. And if we don't have good leaders in our government, it's not their fault, it's the people's fault. Okay? And the leaders can't change the people, but the people can change the leaders. And not that we have bad leaders or good leaders right now, that's neutral, but it's healing the country from within, and that's really one of the goals we're working towards. Okay? So why is our goal realistic to be able to create 1 million new millionaires in the next 5 years? A lot of people say that's a pretty big tall order to get 1 million millionaires in the next 5 years. But if I were pretend like you'd never baked chocolate chip cookies, maybe some haven't. Okay, You've seen chocolate chip cookies, you've eaten a chocolate chip cookie, and you really want to learn how to make chocolate chip cookies. Okay? Now, if I were to hand you this chocolate chip cookie recipe, and tomorrow we were to get together and I was to take you grocery shopping and get you all the right ingredients, and then we were to get together and I was to walk you through this recipe step by step, how many of you believe you can make chocolate chip cookies? Raise your hand. Okay, good, because you haven't seen my baking. But you could do this because, right, there's a recipe to follow. There's a step-by-step recipe. And if one person can do it, anyone can do it because the recipe spells out exactly what to do. Put these ingredients together, mix these first, put this together, okay, now do this, can I put in the other, right? And it takes you step by step. Well, wealth has a recipe, just like chocolate chip cookies. The problem is it's not taught to people. And most of us are trying to make chocolate chip cookies with lettuce and tomatoes. And it doesn't work out very good. And it doesn't matter how hard you try and how many times you try, if you don't have the right ingredients, you're not going to get the right outcome, period. The recipe for wealth looks something like this. Correct knowledge plus correct application with the right opportunities equals wealth. And when I would attend events like this for years, I would get a lot of knowledge. Some of it was correct, some of it was not correct. Because there's both incorrect and correct knowledge available to us. Okay? Very seldom did I find any application. And sometimes I'd find opportunity, but not the correct knowledge and no application. And so it requires all three to create wealth. You've got to have the right knowledge, you've got to have the right application, and the right opportunities to get wealth. Okay? And that's what this program offers. You get all three. Now, one of the things about self-improvement you have to understand is that most of us want to improve our circumstances. We want more money. We want better relationships. We want more health or better health, right? But we're not willing to do anything differently. James Allen, in his book, As Man Thinketh, he says, men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. And so New Year's is coming soon, a couple of weeks, right? If you've been thinking about your New Year's resolution, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to make more money, I'm going to, right? We have all these New Year's resolutions, but what happens by the end of January? Gone. Wait, what did I say? I can't remember. Did I make a New Year's resolution? I don't know, right? Because it goes that fast. It comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes, right? And so one of the important things to understand is as we're trying to improve our circumstances, we've got to be willing to improve ourselves. If you have a New Year's resolution to lose weight, then you've got to do something different. But the gym may not be it. Buying a gym membership is not going to help you lose weight. Right? Getting in your gym clothes or your exercise clothes. There's lots of people that wear exercise clothes everywhere now, right? You see them at the store, and I'm like, oh, did you just leave the gym? Or are you trying to lose weight by, like, wearing the clothes does not cause you to lose weight, does it?
Oh, it does.
Oh, does it? Well, maybe I need to put on like my gym shorts or something, and so I can lose, right? No, buying a membership, having the clothes doesn't cause you to lose weight, right? You have to actually go to the gym.
I think even the right shampoo causes you to lose weight.
Really? No, I didn't have shampoo that caused you to lose weight now. It just caused your hair to fall out like mine, so you lose weight?
As you wash it, it runs over your body and it washes away the...
Oh, well, see, there you go, right? But the point is you got to improve yourself, right? But if you go learn something, how do you know it's correct? You can go learn how to lose weight, but what if you don't lose weight from it? Okay, most of us have been taught a lot of information about money and about wealth. But if it's not correct knowledge, does it work? No. If we don't apply the correct knowledge, does it work? Right? You have to apply it correctly, you have to have the right knowledge, right? You can get bad knowledge with correct application, it doesn't work. You can get correct knowledge with no application, it doesn't work. But you have to have correct knowledge plus correct application to get wealth. Now, my first experience with money and making money, I was taught some incorrect knowledge about money. When I was 12 years old, I got a job working for my uncle. He was just started his own insurance salesman or business. And he had this side business where he'd go strip and wax floors like Kmart's and Walmart's and stuff. And so he was paying me $2 an hour to go help him. And because I was only 12 and in school, I could only work weekends and summers and stuff. But my first experience in making money was that it was going to take a long time for me to get $1 million. In fact, if I worked 40 hours a week at $2 an hour, it was going to take me 240 years to get $1 million. That's like 3 lifetimes. And that's only if somehow I didn't have to pay taxes or buy anything with that, and I saved every penny of it, right? And so my first experience with money was it takes a long time to get $1 million, and man, I don't know if I'll ever get $1 million, right? Well, I get married, and by then I'd worked my way up in the world, right? I was up to like 9 something an hour. To make math easy, I did $10 an hour, right? Well, even at $10 an hour at 40 hours a week, if I didn't pay taxes and I saved every penny and lived in my mom and dad's basement the rest of my life, it would still take me 48 years to get $1 million. I didn't want to wait 48 years for $1 million, and I definitely didn't want to live in my mom and dad's basement that long, okay? And so I'm like, okay, well, I want $1 million a year. So I got to figure out how to make $481 an hour if I want $1 million a year. Okay, so the next time you get your employee review with your manager, your boss, and you're like up for a raise, ask for this raise, okay? I want $481 an hour, what, right? Okay, but again, if you want $1 million a year, you got to figure out how to make $481 an hour, okay? Well, I didn't want $1 million a year, I wanted $1 million a month. In order to make $1 million a month at 40 hours a week, I had to figure out how to make $6,250 an hour. Would you like that job? Depends on what I have to do.
I don't want someone socking me in the head or something like that. No.
Not worth it, right?
No.
Well, the second thing I learned early on about money was it's hard to make money, right? When I was making almost $10 an hour, I was working construction. Okay, I'm working in negative 20-degree weather and 100-degree weather, depending on the day and the season, right? I'm walking on a wall 30 feet in the air that's 3.5 inches wide, carrying a 500-pound truss to set it, right? Like, I'm working, busting my butt, working hard, but I'm still only making less than $10 an hour. And so my environment taught me how to work really, really hard. Well, according to CNBC, the average CEO in America makes $15 million a year. That's the average. Okay, some make a lot more and some make a lot less. But even at that, if you break that CEO's time into a 40-hour work week, they're making over $7,000 an hour. Do they work harder than the average American?
No.
No, right? Some may work 60, 80 hours a week, but some only work 30 or 20 hours a week. Okay? So they're not working any harder, so that wasn't correct knowledge. If you're following soccer or no soccer, there's a soccer player called Lionel Messi. He's a pro soccer player. He made $111 million last year. Now, if you figured he practiced and trained and played soccer 40 hours a week, he's still making over $53,000 an hour. According to CNBC, the average American makes $53,000 a year. So this guy's making every hour what the average American makes every year. Okay? Does he work harder than the average American? No, he doesn't. Probably less. Okay? Better yet, Floyd Mayweather, okay, professional boxer, he made $275 million in one night. One fight. Okay? Now, if you figured he trained 40 hours a week for a whole year for that one fight, he still made over $132,000 an hour for that 1 year. For that one fight. Okay? Now who wants to make $100,000 an hour, right? Get your face beat in? I don't know if it's worth, well, I don't know. That's one night of getting your butt kicked for $275 million. That's almost worth getting your butt, well, he didn't get his butt kicked, but I mean, still, the other guy did, but
he was pretty swollen.
he's pretty beaten up too, though. So, but that's a lot of money, right? And so you take a beating for $275 million. I don't know if maybe, I don't know. That's a lot of money, but still, that's quite the beating. But again, does he work harder than the average person does, right? And he doesn't, right? So the idea that you have to work hard for money, a lot of us are taught that, but that's not true. That's incorrect knowledge, okay? Correct knowledge is based on what's known as universal laws. You may have heard about a universal law if you took any science classes. There's one called the law of gravity. Okay, and the law of gravity is a universal law of physics, and it explains why we walk and not float. Okay, there's another one called the law of addition. It's a universal law of mathematics. 1 + 1 always equals 2. Okay, no matter where you go in the world, no matter what time of day it is, 1 plus 1 always equals 2. It never changes. Otherwise, this currency exchange thing would be a lot easier, right? If we knew that 1 plus 1 equaled 3 in some countries and 1 plus 1 equaled 1 in other countries, and just switching around make it a lot easier to make money in currency exchange. But it doesn't. 1 plus 1 always equals 2. The other thing that correct knowledge is based on is what's called true or correct personal laws. Okay? And I'll talk about these individually, but universal laws work 24/7. Gravity always works. It never stops working. The difference is it's either working for you or against you. If you're wanting to walk, gravity's working for you. If you're wanting to float, gravity's working against you. And if you don't understand gravity and you want to float, you can try over and over and over and over again, and you're never going to float because the law won't let you. Now, there's universal laws of money and wealth and health and relationships, but they're not taught in school again. And so most of us aren't aware of them. And we're trying to float when we can't because of the law. Okay? These universal laws also apply to everyone equally. Gravity does not discriminate. Right? It applies to everyone equally all the time. And it's unchangeable. You can't change gravity. It is always there, always has been there, always will be there. So a universal law works 24/7, applies to everyone equally, and it's constant, unchangeable. Now the problem is when these laws work against us, when the universal laws of wealth and success work against us, it limits our success. It limits how much money we can have. It's law. Okay, personal laws are a lot like universal laws. They do work 24/7, but they only apply to me. My laws apply to me, your laws apply to you. I can't force my laws upon you, even though on I-15 people try to force their laws upon you by how fast to drive or how slow to drive on the road, right? And people are trying to control that a little bit. Or you'll hear people complain about how people spend their money. Well, I can't believe you bought a $250,000 car. Don't you know people are starving in the world? Well, yes, I know people are starving in the world. And how many families did I feed by buying that $250,000 car? I fed the miner's family that mined the copper that made the wires. I fed the truck driver's family that delivered the car to the dealership. I fed the factory workers' families that made the car. I fed the steel mills people that made the steel, right? Or the steel factory workers. I fed a lot of people by buying that car, okay? But that's people trying to enforce their laws about money on other people. But your laws only apply to you, my laws only apply to me. And they're changeable. That's the good news, because we have a lot of incorrect laws, like it takes a long time to get $1 million. Or it's hard to get $1 million. You have to work really hard to get $1 million, right? That's one of my personal laws. I had to change that before I could have money come to me easily and frequently, okay, without so much effort. The other tricky part is we have conscious laws. Those are the ones we're aware of. We have subconscious laws that we are not aware of because they're at the subconscious level, okay? But just like universal laws, these personal laws limit you if they're not working for you. Consciously, I can want $1 million, but if my subconscious laws say I can't have $1 million, then I don't get my $1 million. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Okay, so when you look at this picture, what do you see in this picture? If you're looking closely, you'll see blue skies, white clouds, desert sands, cactus plant, but can you see water in this picture? There's water, but can you see it? Most likely your environment taught you to see an ugly plant, something that's dangerous, something you want to avoid, okay? And if you've fell on a cactus, stepped on a cactus, rode your bike over a cactus and flattened your tire so you couldn't play with your friends the rest of the day until Dad got home to help you fix the tube, okay? You know that this is something to avoid, and that's what your environment taught you. The truth is that the cactus plant is a miracle, okay? These plants grow in extremely hot, dry climates, and yet they're clear full of water. But that's maybe something your environment didn't teach you, because it only taught you partial truth. Partial information, that it's dangerous if you fall on it, it hurts if you step on it, it flattens your tires and takes away the fun the rest of the day, right? But the truth is it's a miracle. This plant knows something the rest of the vegetation doesn't know. There's no trees, flowers, grass, or weeds around this thing because they didn't know how to live in an environment that's so hot with so little water. Okay? Did you know that 10% of the people control 90% of the money in the world, and the other 90% of the people control the other 10% of the money. Okay, maybe 10% of the people know something the other 90% of the people don't know, and that's the recipe to success and wealth. So the question is what did your environment teach you about money, health, relationships, yourself that's not true, just like it taught you lies about a cactus? Your environment most likely taught you some lies about life, okay? So where do these laws come from? There's a universal law of success known as the universal law of kingdoms. And just like gravity, this law has specific guidelines, okay? The universal law of kingdoms says that from birth to present day, you are writing laws about how life should be. From the time you were born until today, current moment, your subconscious brain has been looking for evidence in your environment to determine what life should be like. Wealth tends to be generational because environment teaches it. Poverty tends to be generational because environment teaches it. And we'll talk some more about this, okay? But a lot of these laws, these personal limiting laws, they come from high emotional or painful experiences like stepping on a cactus or grabbing mom's curling iron, right? And we experience pain and the subconscious brain goes, ouch, don't do that. And you only have to grab mom's curling iron once, usually, for your brain to go, yeah, don't do that again. Some people have to try it twice, but usually we learn once, right? And so you think about all the high emotional and painful things we've had in life and experiences we've had. Did it teach you wealth or did it teach you poverty? Did it teach you health or sickness? Did it teach you powerful relationships or unfulfilling relationships? And your environment's extremely powerful in doing that, okay? The other thing is repeated evidence. If every time you go to the grocery store and you want a candy bar, and you're like, hey mom, can I have a candy bar? And mom or dad's like, no, there's not enough money for that. And then you go, hey, can I have it? No, there's not enough money for that. Oh, can I have it? No, there's not enough money for that. And your entire childhood growing up, you hear from mom and dad as an excuse of why you can't have what you want. There's not enough money for that. Your subconscious brain most likely has a law that says there's not enough money for that. Food, fun, whatever it is, okay? Because your brain is looking for this repeated evidence of not enough, lack, I don't get what I want, whatever it is you heard over and over as a child. Now, these laws are based upon Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and if you've been in psychology, this is a familiar name. If you haven't, Abraham Maslow created what's known as the 5 hierarchy of needs. He says first we need physiological needs. We need water, air, food to breathe and to live, otherwise we die. Okay, and because we don't want to die, this is our first innate need. Once we have food, oxygen, water, so we're not going to die, the next thing we look for is safety. Okay, we need protection, we need shelter, we need liberty, we need a house, we need a cave, we need something to live in to keep us safe. Okay, after that, we're looking for love and belongingness. We need family, friends, we need to feel accepted in the world and our community. Once we've felt love, we're looking for esteem. We need to be accomplished. We've done something. We're worth something in that environment. We're not just a bump on a log. Okay, and then once we've accomplished something and we feel adequate, then we want to become our true and best self, or what's known as self-actualization. Okay, where we just become the best we can be. And you can use this same information to dissect and break down things like gangs and extreme terrorist groups, okay? Because when they walk into a place and blow themselves up, they will just self-actualize themselves. And that's where I just hit the peak. That was the best I could do, right? And there's all this stuff falls within that, and that's how they attract, and that's how they recruit all these people into their organizations, is through these needs, and they provide all those needs. So another person, Erik Erikson, he developed what's known as Erikson's stages of psychosocial development. Okay, and he said that between birth and death, we go through 8 stages of development from a psychological standpoint. He says between the ages of 0 and 2, we are learning to trust our environment or mistrust our environment. And between the ages of 0 and 2, did your environment teach you to trust it? When you woke up in the middle of the night crying and screaming because you had a bad dream, scared or hungry, Did your environment pick you up, comfort you, and make you feel safe? Or did it leave you in your crib, bassinet, bed, and help let you fall back to sleep? Okay, and maybe you learn to trust your environment, maybe you learn not to trust your environment. Between the ages of 2 and 4, you're learning autonomy versus shame and doubt. Am I good enough, basically? Okay, and between the ages of 2 and 4, kids like to do things themselves. Can I cut the apple myself? And as a good parent, you know, our parents, or we as parents, we didn't want to take our child, their finger, and them to the hospital to get reattached, and they want to cut the apple themselves. We say, no, let me cut the apple for you. And if our child hears that over and over, then they may create a belief or a law that says, I'm not good enough. Well, if you're not good enough to cut the apple, are you good enough to have $1 million? No. Especially if you believe if money is evil, or money is bad, or money does bad things. Okay, that's like saying, I trust myself to wield a sword. Okay, well, if you never handled a sword, you're not going to trust yourself to wield a sword. Okay, but because your environment says it's dangerous, right, and you're not good enough to do it yourself. Okay, initiative versus guilt, 4 and 6. Can you trust yourself? Could you walk to the bus stop yourself? Could you walk to school yourself? Or was that too dangerous? And mom and dad had to be there because we're good parents. We didn't want our kids, you know, doing bad things on the way to school, or on the way to, you know, getting distracted or getting bored, right? And so we're there with them, helping them. And so even though we grew up in great environments with great parents, they may have accidentally taught us that we're not good enough, that we can't trust ourselves and we can't trust our environment. They may have taught us that we're not lovable. Okay? So you can look over this and see where you fall and see what you're learning right now. But think about your past. What has your environment taught you again? Okay? A lot of common limiting laws I hear people say all the time is money's the root of all evil. Money's the root of all evil. That's giving money a lot of power. That's like saying the hammer is the root of all evil. The hammer causes all destruction in life. Really? The hammer doesn't cause it. The people swinging the hammer causes destruction, right? And so that's not necessarily the correct law, but we hear that a lot. It's impossible to create $1 million in 12 months. At the beginning, when I talked about you can create $1 million in 12 months, you may have thought that's impossible. That must be illegal, right? Well, that's not true. You can do it in 12 months. Money doesn't grow on trees. I heard that one a lot as a kid. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, guess what? Money does grow on trees, but you have to plant the right seed. And if you don't have the right seeds, then you're right, money doesn't grow on trees. Okay? It's not good, or I'm not good with money. I hear that one a lot too. I'm just not good with money. You know, I know how to spend it really well. It just come to me, right? There's never enough money for what I want, or there's only so much money to go around. Okay, and those are a lot of common ones that are not correct. There's plenty of money to go around. There's always enough money for what you want, as long as you're letting it into your life. Okay, so how do these incorrect limiting laws apply to our life and affect our results? How does this affect the outcome of our life? Okay, if you don't have $1 million, you've got some laws saying, yeah, you can have $1 million. Otherwise, you'd have it. Okay, and the circle of change explains how this works. So when I was going to school to become a marriage and family counselor, I was trying to figure out a way that I could be more effective, because counseling isn't necessarily always effective. And I was trying to figure out, how do I create a permanent change in people? Because change is inevitable. Today is never like yesterday, and tomorrow will never be like today. But yet when it comes to New Year's resolutions, we have a hard time changing. Okay, and so I was trying to figure out how can I teach people how to create long-term permanent change in their life. If you don't like your money situation, stop doing what you've been doing, right? Because you're getting the same outcome. So this right here, the stimulus, this is your life as you know it. Everything in your life is a stimulus. Right now, I'm your stimulus. You're listening to me, or maybe you're not, maybe you're choosing to daydream and think about something else. But if you're listening to me, everything that I'm saying is being filtered through the laws of your kingdom. And they're producing thoughts that's producing action, or feelings that's produce actions that produce a consequence that creates your life as you know it. So if you're choosing to listen to me and I'm saying, hey, you can have $1 million in 12 months, and you have a law that says that's impossible, your first thought's going to be, that's impossible, that can't happen, that can't be true, which is going to produce feelings of, this is a bald crazy guy, I just don't know if I can trust him, I really doubt everything he's saying from this point forward. And so then you're going to stop listening to me, you're going to start daydreaming, and the consequence is you won't hear the recipe You won't learn what you need to learn, and your life will remain as it is with no change. Okay? But if you're open-minded a little bit more, and you hear me say you can have $1 million in 12 months, and your first thought out of your subconscious brain might be that's impossible, but you go, wait a second, maybe this is possible, maybe he's gone to something here. You may have a thought that like, okay, well, I can still listen, I'm gonna, this is interesting. So you're gonna keep your feelings and all that at check, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep listening, because who knows what's gonna happen here. So you keep listening, you hear something different, you start doing something different, and it changes the outcome. And your life will change forever. Okay? And this works really well with road rage, losing weight, right? It works for all of it, okay? And this explains why people do what they do and why we have the outcome that we have. Okay, if every time you look at your account, right, or every time you want to buy something and there's not enough money and your law says, oh, there's never enough money for me. Or maybe there's enough money, well, I can pay rent or I can buy that new whatever, okay? And the law says, well, there's enough money for what I want, then you pay the rent. But if you have a law that says there's always enough money for what I want, you buy what you want, and then somehow there's enough money for rent too. You ever experience that or known people that do that? Like, they don't have any money, but yet there's always enough money for what they want. If they don't want to pay the rent, do they have money for rent? Nope. And they're always asking mom or a friend or someone for money for rent because they had plenty of money to buy that new whatever, but they never have the money for rent. And then some people seem to have enough money for everything, and they're never out of money, and they always have money. And then some people don't have money for rent or what they want because there's never enough money, period. And it all depends on what the law is, and the law creates the outcome. Because the law produces a thought, that produces a feeling, that produces an action, that has a consequence, that creates life as you know it. And if you want to change the result, life as you know it, you have to change the law. Now, what if you were to win the lottery? Or maybe you get a big inheritance from a rich relative, or you get some big rich or a bunch of money from a settlement, insurance settlement or something like that, right? Now all of a sudden you have $1 million. Yay, you're a millionaire for about 3 or 5 years. But what happens is because you didn't change your laws about money, and you didn't change the way you think about money, you didn't change the way you feel about money, you didn't change how you act about money, you lose all your money within 3 to 5 years, you're bankrupt. And that is the sad story of most people who come upon a big lump sum of money, is that within 3 to 5 years, they're in a worse financial situation than they started with because they didn't change the law. Okay? Weight's the same thing. You want to lose weight, so what do? You change the action. You go to the gym, you work out, you start taking a diet pill, you stop eating food, right? You change the action. Consequence is usually you'll lose some weight. Which then you look in the mirror and go, oh, I can't look that good. My genes tell me I'm supposed to be overweight. I can't look that good. So your laws start producing, oh, I'm supposed to be struggling with weight. I'm over 40, my metabolism slowed down, blah, 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 blah. The thoughts, the feelings come, and then you stop doing what you're doing to lose the weight. And the consequence is you gain all your weight back plus 5 pounds to make sure you don't try to pull a stunt like that again. Okay? And you go back to status quo. This is how powerful this is, and it works with every aspect of your life. Your relationships. What are your laws about relationships? Oh, mom and dad got divorced when I was 9 because I'm not lovable. Dad left or mom left because I'm not good enough and I'm not lovable. Okay, kids love to blame themselves for their parents' problems. Okay, we take that on. Our subconscious looks for evidence. We write laws about it, and then we live our life according to those laws. And we'll sabotage an amazing relationship because we have a stupid subconscious law that says, I can't be happy, I'm not lovable. We do it with our health, we do it with our money, we do it with our entire life. Okay? That's the power. Now, there's a universal law called the law of change. And the law of change says if you want to change the outcome, you have to change what you're doing, right? Change precedes change. So if you want a different result, you have to stop doing what you've been doing to get the result you've got right now. So if you don't have enough money, should you keep doing what you've been doing with money? You got to do something different if you want a different outcome with money, whether it's making it or spending it or both. You've got to do something different. Okay? Our personal laws create our natural and automatic thoughts, feelings, and actions, though. So if you want to change the outcome, you've got to change the law. If you want success and wealth to be natural and automatic, you've got to change the laws. If your subconscious laws support you being successful and wealthy, it comes naturally and automatically. Wouldn't that be nice? Money flows to you naturally instead of flowing away from you naturally. Okay? You want money to flow to you naturally, okay? And that's how you get a different outcome, a different result. Now the problem is, for most of us, is consciously we want money. We want better relationships. We want better health. Those are the things that we want. But because the subconscious brain also has limiting laws that we're not aware of, they get in the way of what we want consciously. Now, which brain wins, conscious or subconscious brain? Which one's more powerful? If consciously you want $1 million and you've gone to school and deserve $1 million, but subconsciously you still have laws that say you can't have $1 million, which one wins?
Subconscious.
Subconscious, right? If you don't believe me, hold your breath. Breathing is a subconscious function. For a short period of time, you can override that, but eventually the subconscious brain will shut off the conscious brain, you pass out, and you start breathing again because the subconscious brain rules. Period. Okay, my parents lived next to a guy, he was an ER doctor making over $250,000 a year, and he was broke. Why? He went to school for 13 years or whatever. He was a doctor, ER doctor, making lots of money, but he was always broke. Well, he would go invest, he'd have some friends and they'd go invest in real estate. His friends would win, he would lose. He had friends that would go invest in stock markets and they would win and he would lose. And every time he'd go and invest money, the people he invested with won and he always lost. Why did they win and he lost or lose? Because the subconscious laws in his kingdom said you can't have money. There's never enough. It didn't matter how much education he got. It didn't matter how much money he made. He would sabotage it and lose it to make sure he was struggling financially. And if you look at your financial situation, regardless of how long you've been making money, okay, and you can ask some older people too, has your financial situation really changed over the last 40 years? Not really. I make more money because I've gotten promotions, raises, more education, but as my income increases, my expenses increase with it. So whether you're making $1,000 a year or $100,000 a year, if you're spending everything you make, you're in the same financial situation, broke, poor, struggling. And unfortunately, that's how most people live their life. They go to school, they get a better degree, they get more education, they get a promotion, they get a job, they get whatever, they make more money, and they increase their expenses just as quickly or quicker than they increase their income. Okay, the law of attraction, another universal law of success. So you've learned how many universal laws now? 3, okay? Let's talk about 3 universal laws this is new knowledge you've gained tonight, okay? You understand these laws, how they work. Now you get to go apply them, okay? But the law of attraction states that like energies attract. So if thought are energy frequencies, which they are, then our thoughts automatically attract things at a conscious and subconscious level. And I'm sure you've heard people say, well, I got in a car accident, I wasn't thinking about that, so yeah, how do my thoughts attract things? And how have I got in a car accident? Well, your subconscious law may have been, I can't have nice things, and you just got a new car. And if your subconscious law says you can't have nice things, did you attract a car accident? Very much so, because now your car's not nice, and now you can have it. True, right? You get a little ding, a little scratch, right? A little fender bender, and you have, I'm not talking like major, like kill someone accidents. I don't know about those still. I don't know, maybe we are attracting those. Maybe we, at a subconscious level, don't want to live. I don't know. But, there's oftentimes that these little things we do attract. But it's at a subconscious level because our subconscious laws say things like you can't have a nice car. Okay? Or if you ever get a nice car and someone's like, oh wow, you got a nice car, you must be bringing the money. Oh no, I got a really good deal, right? And we start justifying why we don't have nice things. Oh, it was on sale, right? Oh, I didn't like on this, right? And we start, because our subconscious brain says we can't buy new things, we can't buy expensive things, we can't have those things. And so we try to justify our way out of why we can have them because we didn't pay full price, we got a good deal, right? And that's all from our thoughts. But thoughts are energy. and you will attract what you think about at a conscious level and a subconscious level. So if you're attracting things you didn't consciously think about, you better start looking at your subconscious thoughts. Oh wait, you can't access those, they're subconscious. But results don't lie. So whatever results you're getting in life, they're coming from either your conscious or subconscious. So if you didn't think about the car accident and you got a car accident, you better start considering why you couldn't have a nice car, or why you need to sabotage your money. Maybe it wasn't you can have a nice thing. Maybe it was I can't have extra money and I need to fix something this month to get rid of my money, so I'm going to crash my car, so I have to fix and repair my car. Because you can't have extra money. Or maybe the fridge goes out or whatever, right? Because you attracted something to take that money away from you. Feelings are frequency energies, or energy frequencies. Okay? What you feel, you also attract. You ever felt fear before? Fear there won't be enough money? Oh yeah. What are you going to attract then? If you're fearing you don't have enough money to pay, you're going to fear you're going to run out of run out of money before you run out of month. Okay? Well, wait a second, right? And all of a sudden you start fearing that. What are you attracting? You're attracting what you're afraid of. Less money, not enough money, lack. Okay? So remember, thoughts attract, feelings attract. And your laws create your automatic thoughts and feelings. So if you want to change your thoughts and feelings, what you're naturally and automatically attracting, you got to change the laws. Because you can hold your breath for how many seconds? But eventually, the subconscious takes over. So you can stop and look in the mirror and tell yourself, oh, I'm so wealthy, I'm so successful, and lie to yourself over and over for how many seconds? And then you go back about your normal days of life and your subconscious brain takes over and starts attracting the opposite. And so oftentimes affirmations aren't very effective because it's like holding your breath. You're just temporarily changing what you're attracting for a short period of time. But if you're only meditating or doing affirmations 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, you're still spending 23 hours and 45 minutes attracting what you don't want at a subconscious level. So you change the laws, and now all of a sudden you start changing the outcome. Now, the law of attraction works 24/7. It's working for you or against you, right? But it's working 24/7. So if your laws support what you want, you're attracting what you want. If the laws don't support what you want, then you're attracting what you don't want. Money problems, relationship problems, health problems, okay? And that just keeps coming. All right, let's talk about the right opportunities now. We've talked about application. We've talked about correct knowledge. So you've learned a few universal laws of success tonight. If you want to apply them, you can start thinking about how to apply them by first controlling your thoughts, right? And as you control more of your thoughts, the more control you have over the law of attraction. And then that's a really laborsome activity to control your thoughts, by the way, but it's a powerful one, and you'll learn how to do that in the program. But until then, you can start changing a lot of the laws, and things will start becoming natural and automatic for you, and that's the application side. And I'm going to teach you a thing at the very end here where I'm going to have you go apply a concept to, a very well-known concept for successful people, and that will be at the very end. But I want to talk about the right opportunity because you've got knowledge, you've got application, and now we're going to talk about the right opportunities. The right opportunity requires leverage. Okay, leverage makes impossible things possible. If you got a flat tire and you don't have a mechanical lever called a jack, changing your tire, a flat tire becomes impossible because you cannot lift up a 3,000 plus vehicle with one hand, loosen lug nuts, tighten it over 100 foot-pounds with the other hand and change a tire. You have to have a jack and you have to have a lug wrench to change a flat tire. And without those, changing a flat tire becomes impossible. Creating $1 million requires leverage. Okay, if you're working for money, hourly, salaried, you're going to have a hard time making $1 million unless you're a CEO or professional soccer player or boxer, or something like that, right? Then you can get your $1 million. But most people have a hard time creating $1 million just working for money. And so you got to be able to leverage time and leverage money. Your time, you only have 24 hours a day, right? When I presented at a college class a few years ago, it was probably about 10 years ago, and when I told them I was on track to doing $500,000 a month, one of the guys raised their hand in the class like, "That's impossible." I'm like, "How's that impossible?" "You can only make so much an hour and you can only work so many hours in a day." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. There's only 24 hours in a day and I only work 8 or 9 of those." Okay? But if you know how to leverage your time and leverage your money, then money works for you and time works for you. And money and time are your best employees because they don't take days off, they don't call in sick, they never complain, and they never do it wrong. When I had construction business, I had a lot of employees that do things wrong, that called in sick or would show up at 10 and leave at 2 and then complain when their paycheck was this big. But again, you know, it's leveraging your time and money and knowing how to do that's key. Okay, the other right opportunity is being able to see truth. Look beyond the needles. If all you see is needles in your opportunities, then you're going to have a hard time becoming successful and wealthy. You are surrounded by opportunities to make money. They're there. You just can't see them because you're seeing partial truth or you're seeing lies instead of truth. And so you got to start seeing things as they really are, not as your environment told you to. Okay? So, with this program, because we're trying to create 1 million new millionaires in the next 5 years, I had to find an opportunity that anyone could participate in. So this opportunity has to be available to everyone, which limits it. I don't know if anyone has $1 million, they want to go jump into investment with me right now, but most people don't, okay? And so part of that being possible for everyone, it's got to be affordable. So I had to find a wealth building vehicle and an opportunity for anyone to get into that's affordable, all right? It had to be accessible, someone that people could actually participate in. There's a lot of opportunities to create wealth, but they're not always accessible to people, and they're not always affordable. And so if we're going to create 1 million new millionaires, it's got to be affordable, accessible. It's got to be able to duplicate. It's got to be a duplicating system that if one person does, then another person can do it. Because that's the only way we're going to get to 1 million people within the next 5 years, okay? And it doesn't require a lot of time because I don't know very many people who could just quit their job, right, and start working and not have some type of a compensation coming in, right? So it can't take a lot of your time. And the end result of these millionaires we're looking for, that's going to be changing the world, they're not going to be working 40, 60, 70 hours a week because when money starts working for you, the first thing you get back is your time. Time is the most limited resource. In fact, it's the only limited resource in the world, is time. There's plenty of money out there. There's plenty of wealth out there. But we are all limited to 24 hours a day. What's more important, money or time? Or what's more valuable, money or time? Time. It's the only thing we can't make more of. We can make more money. We can create more wealth, but you can't really create more time. Well, of course, the one guy I was talking to, they bought stand-up desks for their office because if you stood up at your desk for the next 40 years, you'd live 5 years longer. So maybe they're creating more time. But I thought, stand for 40 years to live 5 more years? I'll die 5 years younger and sit, thanks. But again, that, it depends. Like time is limited, right? It's the only limited resource everyone has, 24 hours a day. Okay, this opportunity needs to have a high ROI or return on investment. Okay, you can invest in stocks, and if you put $400 a month into a stock, okay, after a year, you're going to have how much money? Depends on your interest rate, right? But not very much. That $400 is not going to turn into a whole lot of interest. I mean, you're going to save $400 a month, but the return on investment is very small, 10% in fact. And if it's not even 10% of, it's just 10% compounded. So if you had 10% interest, it's compounded 1/12 of 10% on $400 your first month, and then it's compounded 1/12 of 10% on $800 the second month, right? And it's a really slow process. And it can take up to about, if you invest for 40 years, those last 5 years are really profitable because of interest when the money working for you. But if you don't start investing until you're 30 or 40, you're not going to get to that big investment where the money starts flowing in. And most people have surpassed that time to start investing to really benefit from interest. It's got to be something high. It's something where you can put a little bit of money in and get a lot of money back out. Okay? And it needs to be low risk. Most high return investments also come with a high risk. So it's finding an investment wheel or vehicle that is affordable, accessible, duplicatable, doesn't require a lot of time, has a high return on investment, and low risk. If we're going to create 1 million millionaires in the next 5 years, this has to be the formula. Okay? So the only wealth building vehicle that I could find is partnering with a business, okay, or businesses, I should say. Businesses that have been in business for at least 10 years. Why 10 years?
You're showing their stability.
Stability, right? If you ever started a business, okay, statistically, depending on which statistics you read, right, 50 to 80% of businesses will go out of business within the first 3 to 5 years because they failed to produce a profit. Okay, so if they've been in business for 10 years, you know they've surpassed that chance of most likely going out of business. And so it's going to be a low risk investment. Okay, there's also a lot of startup going on in a business. Okay, developing a product, developing a service, marketing that business and that service, right? And getting it established and set up. There's a whole lot that goes into that happens in the first 3 to 5 years of business. And that stuff's already been done. Okay, they've figured out all the kinks, the business is set and less likely to fail. Okay, it's also going to leverage. It's got a high ROI on it. Okay, you put $400 a month in, you get $100,000 a month back out. Wait for people to catch up on that one. You put $400 a month in, you get $100,000 a month back out. Sound like a good investment? Okay, now some people are like, wait a second. My left brain is not the best, but that doesn't add up. Like 1 plus 1 does not equal 2. Okay? 400 does not equal 100,000. It does though, because of leverage. Okay? It's leveraging time, it's leveraging money in a way that allows impossible things to become possible. Okay, so watch your personal laws on this one because you might be, oh, that's impossible. I can tell you right now, there are thousands of people doing this every single month right now. Really? Well, if it works, why isn't everyone doing it, right? Okay. And so, so the first wealth building vehicle that has the low investments with high returns is investing into a network marketing business. Okay, now listen to what I just said. Investing in a network marketing business. I didn't say anything about doing network marketing. Okay. Network marketing is the fastest and easiest way to grow wealth. That's the business plan. That's the structure of the business. That's what it's set up to do, okay? Because it's perfected time and money leverage. It has the low investment with a high ROI. That's the business plan of a network marketing business. And when you invest and partner with a business, you get to come in at that idea, okay? Now, what's the difference between investing in network marketing versus being a network marketer? Because there's a lot of negativity that comes with the word network marketer or MLM or pushing product, right? And most of us have probably been pushed with product at some point in our life or known someone to do that, or we knew somebody that tried network marketing and failed, okay? But the difference is when you invest in a network marketing business, you just buy the monthly auto ship. Okay? And in return, you're putting money into a system, into a business plan and model that's designed to kick a lot back out. And you're just putting a little bit in. And you get a really overpriced product at the same time, right? Okay? So you get this product and you get to put money into it. Now, doing network marketing is you buy the monthly auto ship, but you're also pushing or selling product a lot. Okay? And you're also expecting other people, family or friends, neighbors, coworkers, strangers on the street to make you wealthy. And it doesn't always work so well, right? So why does network marketing not work for most people? Okay? It's not the business plan. It's not the business structure. It's not the product. It's people. It's the people doing network marketing is why network marketing doesn't work for most people. Because they have personal limiting laws that say, I can't have money. And just because you jump into a business that has a great product, that doesn't change your laws about money. That doesn't change your laws about what money is and who you are and can you have money or not. It doesn't matter whether you take $1 million right now and you drop it into investment, or if you take $100 and drop it into investment. If your laws say you can't have more than what you have, you're not going to have it. It's not going to come back to you. It's going to go bye-bye. Okay? The other reason why network marketing doesn't work for most people is because they don't understand universal laws of success and wealth. And these laws are working against them. And if the law works against you, you don't get results. Okay, there's a guy who did one of my other programs where he learned all these universal laws and learned how to work through his personal limiting laws. When he started the program, he was doing about $20,000 a month in his construction business. He was working 60, 70 hours a week at 26% profit, I think. 26, 25% profit. Okay? That's when he started the program. After 4 or 5 months of the program, his business was doing $50,000 to $60,000 a month. More than doubled, almost tripled his income. The amount of business his business was doing. Okay, he was working 30 hours a week, half the hours, double the business. Why? How can that be? How can he be doing 2 to 3 times the amount of money, working half the hours?
Laws are working for him.
Laws are working for him. He's not spinning his wheels. Okay? And he was at 43% profit. Now he's making a whole lot more money, doing a whole lot less work. Okay? Because the laws started working for him. If he did a bid, he got the job. And he had so much work, he started bidding them higher and got the job. And his employees would go do the job. And they wouldn't mess up. So he didn't have to go back and fix their mistakes. So now he's working half the hours because he's doing less bids, because he gets all of his bids. He has more work to do, so he had to hire more employees, and they were getting the job done correctly.
Because he attracted the right employees.
Attracted the right employees, attracted the right jobs with the right bid point, right? Because the laws started working for him, and he wasn't stuck in the hamster wheel, spinning his wheels, running really fast, going nowhere anymore. Okay? Okay, the other reason why network marketing fails. Downlines build upon emotion. Okay? We haven't hyped you up emotionally today. Okay? We haven't got you all, woohoo, let's go, right? And get you all hyped up. Because I know what happens when you walk out that door and you go home. What happens to the excitement? It tanks. Okay? And a lot of downlines in network marketing are built upon emotions. And that's great as long as you can keep the motivation and the emotions high. But as soon as they hit a brick wall, they hit a stumbling block, they hit a bump in the road, the emotion goes flat, and the results go with it, flat. Okay? And that's where most people fail in network marketing. Okay? There's also a lot of manipulation going on in network marketing because their people are excited. They're excited about the product, they're excited about making money, but because they don't know how to deal with that excitement sometimes, it may come across as manipulation. It may come across as being pushy and using people. And the reason sometimes it comes across that way is because they don't have any business experience or sales experience. They're doing their best they can with the limited laws that they have. And so even though network marketing is one of the fastest and easiest ways to grow wealth, it's also one of the easiest ways to fail. And most people fail at it. But again, it's not the business plan, it's not the business structure, it's the people that's doing it. Okay? So why is investing in network marketing going to work in Transcend's Millionaire Academy? If it doesn't work for most people, why will it work for you by investing instead of doing network marketing? Because you're going to change your personal limiting laws. That's going to allow money to flow to you automatically and naturally with little to no effort. And you need a vehicle for that to happen. And your boss is not going to be that vehicle. You need a wealth building vehicle that money can flow to you naturally and automatically. Answer, solution. Okay? network marketing business. It doesn't require time. It's a low investment with a high return. But you've got to change your personal laws to let it flow. Universal laws. In this program, you're going to learn about these 20 universal laws of success and wealth. You're going to learn how to get them to work for you, so success and wealth becomes natural and automatic. And at that point, it doesn't matter what you choose to do, you'll succeed in it. The guy with the construction business, he had all that extra money coming in, so what does he do? He didn't go buy a new house or new car. He went and bought another business that was struggling. It was a printing business. Okay, the month he bought the business, it was doing it did $500 in business that month. That's not struggling, that's dead, by the way. Okay, he bought a business that needed to be resurrected, not just like supported. It was bad. Okay, his first month owning the business, it did $1,500 in business. Within 30 days, he tripled the business. Within 6 months, it was doing $15,000 of business. 6 months. Okay. Within 13 or 14 months, he signed a $100,000 contract with a business. Okay, that's what happens when the laws work for you. It doesn't matter whether you buy a printing business, it doesn't matter whether you're in construction, it doesn't matter whether you're in network marketing. You start attracting ways to make money, and money starts flowing to you in all sorts of ways. Now though, if he would have saw the business, okay, because that business was for sale, and a lot of people looked at the books and went, that looks like a problem to me. Needles on the cactus. He saw that business is 75, 80, 90% off. I'm going to pick that baby up while it's on sale. Do you see the difference in seeing truth and not letting the needles, right? A lot of people stepped over that business and didn't pick it up because they saw, oh, it's not struggling, it's dead, and I don't want to revise it. But he saw it as an opportunity. And because he understood the laws, and his personal laws worked for him, it went well. Okay? And that's what happens when you start to understand all this. Okay? The network marketing, investing in network marketing is going to work for you because your downline is going to be inverted. I don't have my whiteboard with me, and I didn't have a chance to get this diagram made, but you think about most network marketing, it's called a pyramid scheme because it looks like a pyramid, right? And you're here, someone's here, and you're here, right? And you create your own pyramid. But network marketing pyramids are built upon, your success is based upon everyone below you. If they succeed, then you succeed. If they fail, you fail. And so you're giving your success and control to other people. That's when you do network marketing. Well, Transcend, it's flipping it. You're at the bottom, and it's going to build this way. And you're responsible for their success. And that way there's support, there's a helping hand, and it's a different mindset. Because you're investing in a business, you're not selling product anymore. Okay? You're going to educate people, not push product. Okay? It's different. So once you start making money in this first wealth building vehicle, investing in this network marketing business, it's going to start producing money, and it's going to start making money fast. Okay? And you're going to take that money, and then you're going to start a second wealth building vehicle. Because the goal to be a millionaire, have $1 million or more a year residual income, is you need multiple residual wealth building vehicles. Okay, and so just like the guy that bought the sign business, once you get money coming from the first one, you're going to take that money and create a second one. And the program is going to teach you how to attract those opportunities. And so you're going to have multiple wealth building vehicles. Okay, you're going to take the money from 1 and 2, and you're going to create 3, and you're going to take the money from 1, 2, and 3 and create 4, and you're going to keep creating all these wealth building vehicles, and you'll be surprised how fast it goes and how easy it is when your laws, your personal laws, support it, and your universal laws are working for you. Okay. Wallace Wattles, one of my favorite quotes, and all the study I've done and all the knowledge I've gained through this over the last 20 years, one of my favorite quotes is from Wallace Wattles. He says, "The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way." Certain way. Okay, there is a recipe to this. "And those who do things in a certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich, while those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor." It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how smart you are. You've got to have the correct knowledge with the correct application and the right opportunity if you want to create wealth. Okay? So, what do you get with the Millionaires Academy? You're going to learn over 20 universal laws of success and how to get them to work for you so it becomes natural and automatic. You're going to learn how to attract multiple wealth-building vehicles. You're going to learn how to identify and change your personal limiting laws that's keeping you from money and having wealth and success and enjoying life, and that's causing you to work way too much and not play enough. Okay? You're going to get a step-by-step syllabus, just like a recipe. Every single day, you're going to be doing things in a certain way. And because you're doing things in a certain way, the law of change says if you change what you're doing, you're going to get a different outcome. You cannot not do this program and get a different outcome. It's law. Do the program, you get a different outcome. You're going to get a mastermind group of like-minded people that's going to be there to help you. Okay, they're going to grab your hand and drag you sometimes if they have to. They might kick you a couple times too if you get down, but recognize it's love. It's just brotherly love coming out. But they're going to be there to help you, okay? Don't take offense to it. They're kicking you when you're down to get you back up, not to torture you, okay? You're going to get additional wealth building opportunities. Okay, this is a huge group of people. Okay, and you're not just getting into a small mastermind group, you're becoming part of a large group, a large mastermind group. Okay, and there's going to be lots of opportunities. And when someone in the group has a wealth building opportunity and they need more people to invest with them, where are they going to go looking? Within the network, right? Because they know that you know the information. They know that if they hand you $1 million, that they're going to get their $1 million back. Because you know the recipe, and you know the laws, and you've worked through your limiting garbage, right? So there's going to be lots of opportunities available inside that for those types of things. You're going to get a mentor that's going to help with accountability, setting goals, and keeping you on track, and be that helping hand for you to get through the program. Okay. Again, we focus on 5 areas. This is not just about money. We talk a lot about money because money's the tool that we use to improve our life and others around us and change the world. But you're going to focus on wealth. We're going to focus on your relationships. Everyone that's done the program sees benefits in the relationship. I had a couple, they were both divorced. They had the worst exes. Like if they wanted to like, hey, can you watch the kids? Nope. Why not? Just because you want me to, right? And they were so frustrated with their exes. And after doing the program, all of a sudden their exes became nice. And they were cooperative, like going, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what's going on. I think they're on drugs or something, right? They're willing to watch the kids when I need them. And oh my gosh, they're willing to trade weekends. And they're just so cooperative and nice because the relationships improve in all aspects of life. Okay? Your health is going to improve. You're going to grow tremendously in this program. And your spirituality is going to become stronger. Okay, so what's required then? Commitment. Commitment. Commitment, okay? You got to be committed to this. If you're interested in success or wealth, this is not the program for you. And that's okay. Okay? This commitment is like getting up at 2:30 in the morning because your kid's been throwing up all over the room. Committed. Like, you don't like, oh, sorry, sweetie, I'll catch you in the morning. I'm not interested in that right now. Okay? That's the commitment level we're looking for. Are you willing to do it when you don't want to? Are you willing to do it when you don't have time? Are you willing to do it and make it and commit to do it? That's the commitment level we're looking for. When you're interested in things, you do it when you have extra time. You do it when you feel like it. That's not committed. That's being interested. This requires commitment. Okay, when you look at a gear system, one tooth breaks, it jams up the whole system. There are people who have sacrificed greatly to be in this program. If you're not willing to commit, don't do the program. Because you're going to jam it up for everybody else. Okay? 110% commitment. When you think you can't do it anymore, you do it. When you don't think you have time, you make time. Okay? That's the commitment level we're looking for. So there's a time commitment. I want you to be aware of this. And the time commitment is about an hour a day. And those that are taking the program will test that it takes about an hour a day to get through the assignments, because you're doing things in a certain way every single day. And at first, that time commitment might seem hard. You may have to lose some sleep. You may have to be willing to give up some Facebooking. You may have to be willing to give up your favorite TV show. But it gets better, because the guy that was working 60, 70 hours a week, that's now only working 30, how much more time does he have? He's got plenty of time to do the program now. When he first started, it was hard. It was a big sacrifice to find an extra hour a day when you're already working 12 hours a day. Okay? But he was willing to do it, and it worked. Okay? You're going to commit to find 2 people, 2 more investors, okay, partners, that's going to come into the academy with you. Okay? And we're not pushing product, we're not selling Transcend. You're inviting people to come learn about what we're doing. That people can know that there's a program out there that can help you become a millionaire in 12 months. A program out there that's going to change the world in a positive way. It was interesting, as I drove to California about a year and a half ago, I'm looking, and I'd never driven to California before, but I was like, hey, I want to drive. And so I decided to drive. And there are these buildings out there, these businesses that are miles long. One building that's like literally 2 miles long. And I'm thinking, who is that? How come I've never heard of that business? That business is ginormous. To have that much real estate, that thing's got to be a huge company doing amazing things in the world. Why have I never heard of that business? I don't remember the name of it now. But I just remember this big, huge building going, man, that is a huge building. Why have I never heard of this business before? They're only 10 hours from where I live. They're ginormous. Okay? We're just inviting people to come learn about what we're doing. Okay? You're looking for people that want to become a millionaire. You're looking for people that want to change the world, right? And then people that are willing to commit to do the program with you. And that's what you're looking for. Okay? There's a financial commitment. Okay? The Millionaire Academy. Okay? This is the recipe. You're buying the recipe, and there's a reason why you have to pay for the recipe. I thought about giving it away for free. But there's actually some universal laws you're going to learn about that requires you to pay. Okay? So you're going to be paying for the program. Now, if you just want the recipe without any opportunities, you just want the knowledge and the application, it's going to be $400 a month, $100 a week. Now, for some, that might be a lot of money, but it's actually very, very good price. I kept it really, really low at $400 because I've done a lot of other programs that cost a whole lot more money than that gave me some knowledge with no application, just some knowledge. And a couple of the programs I paid for a lot of money for, they gave me knowledge that I already knew, so I didn't learn anything new from it. And I was like, wow, this is a waste of time and money. So $400 a month may seem like a lot of money, but when you look at self-help and development programs, $400 a month is really cheap. It's really affordable. Okay? If you want the knowledge, plus the application, plus opportunities, meaning you want to jump into a network marketing business and start investing in network marketing business, I'm going to knock $150 off of the Millionaires Academy. So the Millionaires Academy will be $250 a month. Now, for all you mathematicians out there going, okay, $150 off. That's good, right? Because, and the reason I took $150 off is because most network marketing monthly auto ships are $70 to $150. So you might as well have another wealth building vehicle working for you if you're going to do the program. And so total, if you do this one where you get the knowledge application opportunity for $250, right? You're really going to be the same $400 or less to be in the network marketing thing. So the total will be anywhere between $400 to $330, something like that, right? Will be the total monthly investment, okay? So there's a time commitment and there's a financial commitment you have to commit to do the program. I just want you to be aware of that, okay? Now, here's the invitation. And this is what's going to be a little bit weird for most events you go to, because at the end of the event, they say, buy my program. I'm not inviting you to buy my program. I've told you about my program, and I've told you about what we're doing, and I've told you about the universal laws and how they apply and your personal laws. Okay, the program is going to help you identify more of those, but why are you here? Okay, you're here because we're looking for the best of the best. We're looking for people that can commit and that want to change the world. Okay, and so somebody saw something in you that you may not even see in yourself, but it's greatness. Okay, and that's why you're here. Someone invited you here because they wanted you to learn about this, because they see you as a successful, wealthy person that can help change the world. Would you like to be a millionaire? Would you like to change the world? Okay. Would you like to have balance and success in all 5 areas of your life? When I was working in construction, I was contracted to go finish a basement, do some finish work in a basement of a guy. The year before, he'd built a $250,000 gazebo in his backyard. Okay, that's a really expensive gazebo, by the way. You know, like a 12 by 12 or 15 by 15 little place to drink coffee or lemonade, right? Copper roofing. It was phenomenal, right? This guy had so much money. Very wealthy, very successful guy. Well, a couple of weeks before I was supposed to start the job, I get a phone call from the general contractor saying the job's been canceled and put on hold. I'm like going, wait, what's going on? I'm like, that's like a month's worth of work for me and my employees. What am I supposed to do with my employees for a month, the next month? And he's like, well, it's just been canceled. I'm like, hey, you got to tell me what's going on. That you can't just cancel a job on me like that. And he's like, well, his wife filed for divorce and he killed himself. Okay, so even though he had lots of money and he's really successful in a lot of aspects, business, wealth, okay, the relationship side fell apart on him. And unfortunately, I see this happen a lot. People sacrifice their relationships and their health, their self-development, and their spirituality for money. And it's not just the wealthy doing it. The poverty-stricken also do it. Right? We work how many hours a week do we put towards money to just survive? And we're starving out our relationships, we're starving out our health in order to just survive. And there's a better way. You don't need to survive. You can create wealth, okay? So here's the invitation. I want you to go home. And this invitation, this what I want you to do, this is what all successful people can do very quickly, okay? And I want to teach you what the process is, and then I want you to go home and apply it, because we're about knowledge plus application with this program. So I'm going to teach you how to know what to do very quickly. Okay? I want you to go home. I want you to think about it. I want you to remove all your fears, all your doubts, all your worries. Get rid of all the emotions. Okay? I want you to ask. I want you to listen and do. And this is what successful people do, knowing what to invest in, what not to invest in. Okay? And commit to do within the next 2 days, okay? And I'm going to talk about each one of these. So think about it. I want you to contemplate about what it is you're doing. Okay, what are the pros of this? What's the cons? Okay, cons might be time. If you're working 60, 70 hours a week, time is a legitimate concern. Okay, $400 a month total investment. That may be a big concern. Think about that. Is it worth it? That may be a con, maybe a pro, right? But what's it going to do to your life? How's it going to change your life? In 12 months from now, where are you going to be if you don't do the program? In 12 months, where are you going to be if you do the program? How's that going to affect you? How's it going to affect the people around you? Okay, these are things to really think about. Most importantly, you got to remove all of the fear. Oh, I just don't know if I can commit to that time. I just don't know if I can commit to that amount of money. That's a lot of money. Yes, it is. Okay, but get rid of the doubt. Get rid of the fears. Fear debilitates in your decision. It actually debilitates the brain. Okay, if I were to lay a 16-foot long 2x4, okay, on the ground here, most of you could probably walk on that 3.5-inch wide board and not fall over. If I were to secure that same 2x4 that's 3.5 inches wide, 16 feet long, and secure it 30 feet in the air, very few of you could walk on that board. Why? What's the difference? It's still 3.5 inches wide. Fear, right? When it's 30 feet in the air, it doesn't look 3.5 inches wide anymore. It looks like it's like a third of an inch wide, okay? Because it's a lot farther to the ground, right? But it's still 3.5 inches wide. But the difference is your brain, the fear shuts your brain down. and your leg starts to shake and you lose control of your muscles. How did you lose control of your muscles? When it was on the ground they were working. Why is it not working in the air? Okay, fear debilitates and shuts your brain down. It keeps you from your muscles working correctly. It keeps you from making the right choice. It keeps you from choosing the things you're supposed to choose and do to move forward in life. Okay, Will Smith said, everything you want is on the other side of fear. But most of us let fear shut us down and keep us from moving forward. So let go of all the fear, okay? Fear is designed to keep you alive in life or death situations. This is not a life or death choice. It is a life-changing choice, but it is not life or death. You will not die or live either or. It's going to make no difference on you living, okay? After you've gotten rid of all your fears, ask, is this something that I should do? Okay? Ask yourself, ask intuition, ask God, your higher power, whatever you call that. Ask your spouse if you're married, is this something we should do? Because it will change your relationship. Okay? Now, this is the key. Lots of people ask, lots of people contemplate and think through it, but they don't listen correctly because we're not taught to. In fact, even in school, I was taught that if you hear more than one voice, it's called schizophrenia. Later, I learned the truth. All normal people hear 3 voices. It's not schizophrenia. If you hear a 4th voice, go see a psychiatrist, okay? But these 3 voices actually sound a lot alike to where we think it's one voice. But there's actually 3 voices in your head. There's the voice of truth, there's the voice of lies, and there's your own thoughts. Okay, the voice of truth sounds like this. It's given once or twice, it's usually direct. And it's usually the first thing that comes to your mind if you're paying attention and listening. After the voice of truth tells you to do something or not do something, the voice of life jumps in there and starts to give you 1,000 reasons why you should not do or do what the voice of truth told you to do or not do. Call mom, voice of truth. Voice of lies, don't call mom, you don't want to worry her. She might be taking a nap, you don't want to wake her up. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Why not to do what the voice of truth told you to do? Buy that business. Oh no, don't buy this. It's dead. Like it's gonna be so much work to get that up and going again. I mean, yeah, don't do that. That's a bad investment. Okay, and it tells you over and over why not to do what the voice of truth told you to do. The third voice is your own voice. It starts to question between the 2 voices, lies and truth. Well, I don't know, would mom worry if I call? Well, maybe there's something wrong with mom. Maybe I better call her, make sure she's okay. Maybe she's sick, maybe she's stranded, right? And you start questioning why you should do or not do what the voice of truth told you or the voice of lies, okay? Those are 3 voices. So as you go home and you ask, is this something I should do? Listen for the voice of truth. Yes, no, do, don't. And it may tell you either or, I don't know. If it tells you do, or yes, and then the first thought comes in, oh, but I just don't have the money for that. Where'd that come from? Voice of lies. Well, I don't have enough time to do that. Where'd that voice come from? Voice of lies, okay? Listen, okay? And if you get 1,000 reasons why you should not do that, that's probably the voice of lies. If you get 1,000 reasons why you should do that, that's also the voice of lies, and you probably shouldn't do it, okay? I don't know what the voice is going to tell you, but listen to the voice of truth, okay? The voice of truth is really all that matters. Nothing else will matter. If the voice of truth says do it, and your concern is money, and you move forward, you'll be surprised where the money comes from, and there will be the money. If you're concerned about time, and the voice of truth says do it, and you move forward, you'll be surprised where the time comes from, and you'll have time, and you'll make time, okay? Because the voice of truth puts you on your path of abundance. The voice of lies puts you on the voice of lies puts you on the path of resistance and frustration and lack. So if you're feeling a lack of time, you've been listening to the wrong voice. If you're feeling a lack of money, you've been listening to the wrong voice, because you're not listening to the right voice, okay? Do, okay? So after you get your answer, you're going to call the person that invited you here, and you're going to let them know about your decision. And then they'll help you with the next step. If it's yes, they'll help you get going, they'll help you get registered, and get you started on the same path they're on, okay? If the voice says no, don't do this, then they're going to chit-chat with you a little bit and never call you again. I mean, well, not ever, they'll never invite you again, but they'll still call you and talk to you and say hi to you. So you don't have to avoid them after this, because they're not going to keep pushing this on you. You get one invite, okay? You're going to get one invite from them. And then after that, you're going back to the same friendship you had before, the same relationship you had before. So you don't have to avoid them. Well, they will call you one more time. If you don't call them within 2 days, they're going to call you in 2 days, and they're going to ask you this question: what did the voice of truth tell you? Then after that, then they'll just call you as a friend and talk to you or whatever, right after that. And you'll never hear of this again from them. So that's the invitation. Any questions? Good. Go home. Oh, wait, what? What was your question?
What's for dinner?
What's for dinner? There we go. Who's buying? All right. Thanks for coming. Appreciate your time again. You can stay after and ask me questions if you want to ask me a personal question or something you don't want everybody else to know. If not, you can go home, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Go get dinner or whatever you've got the rest of the plans for.